I had Angel over Caitlin for WNBA Rookie of the Year because of Angel's extraordinary double-double streak and because of Angel's Rodman-esque rebounding. Never seen anything quite like it.
You know basketball. You know basketball better than me. You know basketball than any of the pundits. You know basketball better than most of the men that play basketball. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out.
After receiving harsh criticism from experts for his absurd remarks regarding Caitlin Clark, Skip Bayless is currently in full damage control mode. It almost seems as though Skip believed he had a special access to talk trash about the biggest WNBA star in order to increase the number of viewers for his show. It's funny that the specialists weren't very inclined to cooperate. We have 2 minutes, and there are a ton of folks on TV who seem to know all there is to know about every sport. I don't want to single out any particular guys. No, point it out to them. As you all know, I detest Skip Bayless. They brought in facts and receipts and all the raw honesty that Skip was obviously not prepared for. And now that he has no other choice except to retreat, he is doing so rather than sticking to his original position. And the idiot is, Skip Bayless. He'll figure out a way to put the responsibility on LeBron. However, you may be thinking how on earth Caitlin Clark, who often sets records, can be mocked by someone with as large of a platform as ESPN while ignoring her astounding performances. You see, my friend, it all boils down to statistics. Yes, the word that either makes everything make sense or in the case of Skip Bayless renders him completely nonsensical. How about I get Skip Bayless in here and I kill him live on national television if I have a disease and I'm going to die? It appeals to me. Yes, can we set this up, Fritzy? I see no reason why not. Just let us know when it happens, please. For the simple reason that I want to beat Skip Bayless like a dog once I have him in a room. See, his show's ratings were plummeting before to this whole debacle. As in 40,000 viewers tanking. Certainly not the figures you boast about in work, is it? But then, all of a sudden, he begins disparaging Caitlin, creating a scene, and you know what? People are suddenly paying attention once more. He's getting more attention, his ratings are rising, and he looks like he just won the lottery. The only thing I want to do is kick Skip in the ass, see if Skip can rise to the challenge. To be honest, Skip isn't just using Caitlin's name to support his opinions. Creating drama for ratings has become a sport for ESPN as a whole. Nothing fresh to report there. However, they've recently focused on an unexpected target. Caitlin Clark, why do you inquire? Excellent query. Thus, there isn't even a valid explanation. It seems as though they have all decided to disregard common sense. Consider Molly Karam, who typically avoids the unpleasant drama. But all of a sudden, she made the decision to attack Caitlin. It's crazy because Molly's making it appear as though Caitlin's breaking records and working hard on the court is a terrible thing. The only problem was that she hadn't even played a game yet and was still getting all the recognition and appreciation for all that was going on in the WNBA. People were simply saying, respect the stars who came before you, like the A'ja Wilsons and Angel Reese as well. As in, really, it's unbelievably obvious that ESPN has been cultivating this animosity toward Caitlin for some time. They're promoting these absurd storylines that don't add up, sensationalizing everything and exaggerating everything. One would expect that a player who was so successful in her freshman year would receive a ton of attention. False. See how unhappy Smith was? Rather, they're out here finding holes in her defense and trying to undermine her. Her success nearly seems to be posing a challenge to the establishment, and ESPN is only too happy to embellish the facts. It seems as though they have lost sight of what constitutes quality sports journalism. This time, Skip Bayless, the master of bizarre hot takes, has surpassed himself with his absurd comparison of Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark. Due to Angel's incredible double-double run and his incredible rebounding, I've never seen anything like it. I choose Angel over Caitlin for WNBA Rookie of the Year. Really, it seems as though he is attempting extraordinary mental acrobatics to persuade us that Reese is a superior player in some way. Where, after all, is he getting this from? He seems to be living in another reality where real performance and numbers don't really exist. And he's not merely saying that Angel is fantastic, believe me. He's throwing caution to the wind and asserting once again that Angel is superior than Caitlin. Basketball fans all over the world are scratching their heads in unison over this strange perspective, saying, let's get real for a second upon examining the figures. Skip's claim does not just collapse. It breaks down entirely into dust. I am referring to Caitlin Clark, who led the WNBA rookies by a wide margin in 2023 with an average of 27.4 points per game. Angel Reese, in the interim, undoubtedly a good player, but far from reaching Caitlin's attacking peaks. But Caitlin's not just out there scoring points. She creates plays for 7.9 assists per game, or almost twice as much as Angel's. Skip is free to attempt to turn this into a competition all he wants, but Caitlin is far superior when it comes to the numbers, and Charles Barkley is here to support her. Then there's the breaking of records. Not only is Caitlin Clark creating waves, but she's also rewriting history. Just take a look at her rookie season, please. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to record at least 30 points and 10 assists in a single game on August 30th, 2024, when she easily put up 31 points and 12 assists against the Chicago Sky. That's not even close to what Angel Reese has touched. Let me tell you, as a rookie, Caitlin is the only player in WNBA history to lead her team in assists and scoring for the whole season. Reese is superior, therefore Skip's claim is like saying water isn't moist. What game does this person have on TV? I have to admit that my regard for Caitlin Clark decreased a little. She seemed like the right one to me. Skip, who wants to be respected by you. There are many who sincerely compliment her. Are you even aware of that? Caitlin has extraordinary shooting ability. She is making 42.8% of her field goals and 38.5% of her three-pointers. Reese, meanwhile, can hardly make a three-point shot with her life on the line while shooting a strong 50% on field goals. Caitlin's greatest weapon is her ability to block long shots. She can be a menace on the court from any place. Reese, she's staying with post moves and layups, which is fantastic, but it's not quite as revolutionary as Caitlin's long-range bombs. I won't even begin to discuss Caitlin's floor management style. It's more than just assists or points. She sets the tempo for the entire game. The defense opens up, her teammates receive better looks, and the team performs more fluidly when she's on the field. Though Reese is undoubtedly a beast in the post, she doesn't garner the same kind of respect or attention as Caitlin. The figures support it. The court becomes more open with Caitlin present, and team play becomes more effective. Reese is a fantastic solo performer, but Caitlin, she is uplifting everyone in her vicinity. Due to Angel's incredible double-double streak and his Rodman-like rebounding, I choose Angel over Caitlin for WNBA Rookie of the Year. Never seen anything comparable to it. This is the point at which Skip's argument devolves into absurdity. It appears as though he is attempting to distort reality to suit his story. Angel Reese is somehow better in this parallel reality that Bayless is trapped in. The rest of us, though, who are genuinely watching the sports, are aware of the reality. It's not even close to the level that Caitlin Clark possesses. Skip appears more intent on igniting a debate than embracing the stark, unvarnished truth. However, this is not the first time, is it? It's pushing her around. She's going through a tough moment. And she had a really rough night, particularly in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, she turned it over 4 times. Went 0 for 2 last night and nearly lost. Let's talk about records now, since Caitlin's inaugural campaign is a storybook moment. In addition to her explosive 31-point performance, she broke the WNBA record for the most three-pointers made by a rookie by making 100 in just 32 games. 100 threes, just let that sink in. Angelina Reese, although she has achieved some noteworthy moments, she isn't even in the running for any significant records. Without a doubt, her season was good. Nevertheless, it is insignificant in contrast to Caitlin's. And the real deal is this. Not only is Caitlin Clark dominating on the court, her popularity is driving WNBA ratings skyrocketing. When Stephen A. Smith stated that Caitlin's presence is contributing to the league's growing popularity, he wasn't overstating the case. The number of people watching WNBA games with Caitlin has increased by 40% since her debut. The golden goose is what it always will be. Follow Caitlin Clark, whatever it takes, do it. Put her to the test and defeat her. But keep in mind that you also want to encourage her. Because if she succeeds, the league as a whole will succeed. Literally, people are tuning in just to see her perform. Even though she is well-liked, Angel Reese lacks the same celebrity status. Not only is Caitlin an excellent player, she is extraordinary. She is in charge of ticket sales, merchandise sales, and even broadcast rights. She is altering the rules. Naturally, though, Skip Bayless decides to disregard everything and pretend that nothing is going on. Traditional Skip. It's almost funny how Skip Bayless is simply sitting there, acting like the backlash isn't even happening as the calls for him to apologize get louder. It's getting old for analysts, sports fans, and even casual basketball watchers to hear him make such absurd comments about Caitlin Clark. That's not the whole truth, Skip Bayless, that's just the truth. Thus, God, please aid. Therefore, I don't mean to offend you or God. What Skip has either forgotten or is mistaken about. ESPN executives were not pleased with the nonstop coverage on Tebow. It was bringing in ratings. No one was claiming it wasn't working. But that was a challenge for the bosses because prior to my arrival, the show focused exclusively on Tim Tebow. You already know how much I adore you, Skip. Here, Skip is behaving as though he can say anything he wants without facing any repercussions. However, the general public isn't going to overlook this one. People have been calling for explanations ever since he began uttering that absurd comparison between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Social media users are bombarding him with criticism for his blatant bias, and sports commentators are almost shoving microphones in his face. Not just regular fans are losing it either. Notable opinions from the sports world are also being heard, and they categorically demand that Skip accept his error. These aren't folks who are merely offended by his strong opinions. They're furious with him for distorting the truth to support this fantastical story. The problem about Skip, though, is this. He becomes more obstinate the more people pressure him to apologize. And who is spearheading this effort, you ask? Stephen Smith alone, of course. Stephen is not holding anything back in typical Stephen fashion. However, you already knew they were going to target you when you were taunting Caitlin Clark throughout your championship run by flinging your fists in the air. Furthermore, you are old enough to understand that, whether they like to admit it or not, many in this society find it offensive when a black person approaches a white person who is a beloved celebrity. During a recent visit, he bluntly criticized Skip for not seeing the influence Caitlin Clark is having on the WNBA. Stephen arrived without a viewpoint. He carried receipts with him. He presented the data showing how Caitlin's ascent has increased WNBA viewership by more than 40%, attracting the largest audience the league has had in a long time, not to mention the merchandise sales, of course. With Caitlin's merchandise flying off the shelves, the WNBA is receiving more attention than ever. However, Skip. He sat there expressionless as if he hadn't just been hit by a fax bomb on national television and wouldn't recognize any of it. Hold on, things get better. Shaquille O'Neal also into the fray, and you pay attention to what Shaq has to say. Shaq spilled the beans at Inside the NBA. One of the most gifted athletes to have ever played on the court is Caitlin Clark, therefore Skip's obvious contempt is completely inappropriate. Shaq didn't hold back when he called Skip's fixation on Angel Reese foolish, and to be honest, a little humiliating. However, the WNBA All-Star Team Skills Competition was also revealed yesterday. She also failed to make that. You said, therefore, that she wasn't fit for the Olympics. You made the point that she would be a distraction for women's basketball, even though I don't think it's valid. Is this not the ideal venue for her to compete in the skills competition? Skip Bayless says nothing in spite of all of this, even after being ridiculed by Barkley, Shaq, and Stephanie Smith, and not the stillness that allows you to think back on your errors, but rather the silence that declares I refuse to acknowledge my mistakes no matter what. It's almost unbecoming to watch.